The Panopticon started as an architectural concept theorized by Jeremy Bentham, a central tower within a prison made to exert a feeling of judgment, observation, and constant surveillance. This in turn leads to the minimization of oneself. You might or might not be being watched, so comply just in case. This Schrodinger's gaze is at the heart of Panopticism, and in this video, I will be outlining how the powers that be forged 4 Harbingers of Observation to dominate every single facet of our lives and usher in a new age of mass surveillance. Starting of course with our physical reality. Like it or not, the buildings that surround us very much create the energy of the place that we're in. Architecture is the language of a society visualized through its landscape. From cathedrals towering over medieval towns, acting as a constant reminder of God's presence and judgment, the great houses of plantations sat elevated on raised ground, with wide verandas acting as vantage points over the fields and quarters, all the way to our modern day financial hubs with their dwarven skylines domineering over the population. There is a direct correlation between the number of tall buildings in a society and its level of wealth inequality. Now, of course, there are multiple factors that can explain this, but the psychological outcome is still the same. Everything in observation, subconsciously stifling the revolutionary spirit. A constant reminder of the system's inhumane scale and power and your inability to do anything about it. But despite its size, the physical horseman is the weakest of the 4 due to its passiveness. Of course, subtlety is at the root of panopticism, but I'm about to say it. Buildings kinda just hold people in them. They do not dictate, and outside of the unique ways they require you to traverse them, they do not command specific performance, unlike the next horseman. After the initial concept laid out by Bentham, Michel Foucault extended the panoptic principle to describe a myriad of power dynamics within society. This power creates systems, numeric-based incentive structures that allow for stability and efficiency at the expense of true expression and authenticity. The school, with its standardized testing, turns the intangible and multifaceted process of learning into a rigid numeric experience, punishing those who struggle to conform to its criteria. It's constant behavioral surveillance, all leading up to the biannual parent-teacher conferences. And take it from me, the outcome of these conferences can change the home life of a child dramatically. This whole process, of course, socializes us to operate in the open plan office, or military barracks, or warehouse, with its KPIs and quarterly performance reviews. And if messing up under constant surveillance as a kid can dramatically change your home life, imagine what it can do as an adult. As kids, we spend 1/3 of our time awake at schools. For adults and our workplaces, it's the same thing. And I don't know about you, but I'm not chalking that up as a mere coincidence. Whether you like it or not, you are born with a debt. You owe 1/3 of your life to the systemic horseman. 1/3 of your life under surveillance, where your value is solely based on your output. One's lack of ability or willingness to chase these incentives can lead to homelessness, an intentionally brutal reality which naturally puts you at an increased risk of committing poverty-induced crimes, ushering you into the probation to prison pipeline, returning to the conceptual origins of the Panopticon. All systems of overexposure, discipline, and punishment, turning life into a game of statistics and graphs. And the cost of losing this game is total dehumanization. And speaking of humans, if it wasn't for the recent events that brought about the completion of the final Horseman, I would have told you that the social horseman of the Panopticon is the most powerful one. Man is by nature a social animal, and for the purpose of this video, I am referring to one's social identity, specifically one's gender, race, sexual orientation, class, age, and ability. An intersectional web of social categorizations that forms the lens in which we are viewed, rewarded, and punished by the incentive structures that the systemic horseman has created. Women and girls living under a constant, often hypersexualized male gaze, one that adultifies girls.
There is nothing more interesting to adult men than the development of an adolescent female. We are hardwired to recognize that,
only to infantilize them as adults.
What happened to your clothes?
Everyone now, they look back and they're like, what happened to your sweet image that you used to be? And I'm like, then when I came out, you thought I was too provocative. It's like you could never win.
Ethnic minorities living in a post-chattel slavery world, which is the genesis of race as we know it, subconsciously and hereditarily informing our sense of self and how society reacts to us.
The number of encounters with black people in my neighborhood is steadily increasing. Their skeletal structure and the way their muscles are built are on a completely different level from Japanese people. I'm slim, so if I get pinned down, it'll be over in seconds. The moment I see one, I think no matter how you slice it, there's no way a Japanese person could stand up to that. The black folks who come to my shop are always grinning, cheerful type. They hang out at the nearby family restaurant, but they're scary. A lot of this shit may seem like jokes, and it may seem like, oh, it's just funny, ha ha ha. But at the end of the day, bro, a lot of us have feelings. We see stuff like this, and it's like, damn, we be chilling. I've seen so many stories of black men just being like, I try to shrink myself sometimes when I'm in these environments of non-black people. I don't try to come off as threatening.
And the use of the militarized police state, both domestic and international, strategically and disproportionately placed in working class neighborhoods, ensuring that any perceived slight against the powers that be and their property does not go unpunished. These are all functions of a white supremacist patriarchy that is omnipresent, always watching in an effort to reaffirm its own poorly constructed identity while imposing a brutal, often genocidal will over its subjects.
Tell me how you define white identity and what you think is being erased about white identity.
Certain types of Anglo-derived culture that comes from our history.
Like what?
Let me think about this.
Now, you may have heard some dumbass YouTubers use the famous Aristotle quote, "Man is by nature a social animal." But this is often misquoted. He actually said that humans are by nature a political animal due to our ability to form complex speech and moral reasoning. But what happens when for centuries, that very speech and idea of morality and beauty and justice were developed by a small minority of people with the sole goal of creating a world in their image? A world where they're the standard. The architects of the current world order constantly assess us by their criteria, continuously forcing you to question if you are womanly enough or manly enough, is your IQ high enough, are you white enough or black enough, or rich enough. You must perform under the panoptic eye at all times. This reality creates what is known as a double consciousness, the sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others.
I distanced myself from the Asian stereotype as much as possible by degrading my own race and pretending I hated math because I thought it helped me conform. It was difficult to reconcile my so-called exotic Chinese heritage with my mainstream American self. As a child, I quickly began to realize that I had two options in front of me: conform to the stereotype that was expected of me, or conform to the whiteness that surrounded me.
This is the unique essence of the political horseman. It imposes an inescapable surveillance on those under its gaze. It latches itself to your very being, insidiously influencing each social interaction, which in turn tethers constant internal and external surveillance to your very humanity. Surveillance that is not only perpetuated by the powers that be, but within the identity groups themselves. This is known as respectability politics, the automatic functioning of power through infighting and self-policing.
There's a lot of videos going viral right now on Twitter with this trend of black fatigue, showing black people just doing the most. Being hood rats, doing hood rattery. So the black fatigue is pretty much tired of this ghetto hood rattery culture. As you guys know, I am.
Degendering is when you avoid someone's pronouns by using...
See, this is why people just call you a man and keep it pushing. Deuces, okay, you're just a man. I mean,
this is the generation that is the product of helicopter parenting, and we are seeing the results every single day. We are seeing that this did not work. It has become cool and desirable to be a victim.
It's the regular everyday people and even the normal gays that are just sick and tired of what the LGBTQ plus community has become.
So are you close to becoming a billionaire yourself?
I am not, but I think it's important to have dreams. All manner of socialists and communists that are motivated by jealousy, I want to wipe them off of the political spectrum.
1 in 3 women have had an abortion. 1 in 3 women have an STD. 90% of women have been on contraceptives at one point in their life. Women are on antidepressants more than ever before. It's like the quality of women has just gone down today.
Physical, systemic, political, these were once external powers imposed on us. But now we're in the final phase of panoptic power. And this time, we did it to ourselves. Welcome to the digital Panopticon. In 1984, Apple released one of the most famous ads of all time. It depicts an authoritarian world of observation, all eyes glued to a screen as the proverbial big brother looks down on them, only for the Apple Corporation personified to usher in a new digital age of freedom. And if you aren't as irony poisoned as I am, you'll realize that this digital age has provided the perfect Trojan horses for this exact same Orwellian world of observation to take form. As mentioned, the Panoptic principle relies heavily on unknown observation. The more it is seamlessly interwoven into your life, the more it can influence you. Let's take, for instance, a washing machine.
When you buy a washing machine from LG, they are selling information on you to other people.
Or a vacuum cleaner.
Some gig workers in this South American country posted a few pictures in a forum and started discussing, gossiping, you know the drill. And they were pretty weird pictures, like a young woman on a toilet. But the weirdest part is, the woman didn't take the photos. An early version of Roomba took them.
Or a doorbell.
Ring, the Amazon-owned home surveillance company, announced a formal partnership with Flock Safety, a private surveillance firm whose systems are already used by thousands of police departments across the United States.
Or a speaker.
Danielle says her Amazon device in her Portland home recorded a private conversation and sent that recording to a random contact, which happened to be the employee in Seattle.
Or a phone.
Apple reached a $95 million settlement this week over a lawsuit accusing the tech giant of using Siri to secretly record Apple users' conversations via iPhones and other devices.
By inviting these Trojan horses into our home, we give the Panopticon access to what is known as behavioral surplus. The micro moments of human activity that can be recorded as quantifiable data whenever we interact with an app, platform, or website. Spotify has turned something as intangible as my music taste into a numerical data-driven wrap-up that I feel compelled to share as some sort of corrupted form of self-expression. Spending a microsecond longer on this song than that song is an instance that goes completely unrecognized to me. But to them, it's recorded, catalogued, and remembered for later. I mean, literally my watch was literally just a device to tell time. Now, it constantly tracks my heart rate, my sleeping patterns, and my stress levels, observing my body better than I or any doctor ever could. And through the advent of persuasive technology, social media apps are designed to socially engineer us to see privacy as an inconvenience, encouraging us to make literal profiles of ourselves in the hopes of some kind of connection. But due to the power of the digital horseman, it has simply led to curated, searchable versions of ourselves. Treasure troves of human activity that the Panoptic pirates constantly mine for the ultimate bounty. Data. This funnels into the all-seeing algorithm, and this algorithm has three main objectives. Growth, incentivizing users to join platforms or buy products through a fear of missing out, fueled by insecurities that were created in marketing boardrooms. The same marketers that force creators to sanitize their language in a weird, advertiser-friendly algo speak in hopes that the growth of their platform is not diminished. Yeah, fuck that. Engagement. With the constant checking of our analytics and stats, we crack the internalized whip, chasing the same incentive structures we've been socialized to follow since birth. The bigger the number, the better, no matter how we get there, rewarding us for clicks over quality, and oftentimes clicks over humanity. All of this feeds into the last goal, advertising. The real point of all of this. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The digital horseman has skyrocketed the panoptic power of the state more than any horseman before it. The tangible presence of the physical horseman, the rigid, data-driven nature of the systemic, and the constant social comparison and hyper-focus on identity of the political is combined and multiplied like some kind of weird dystopian megazord to form the digital horseman. But now that the four horsemen have assembled, who do they actually serve? What's the... Following the theme of shitting on classic quotes, you may have heard the saying, if something is free, you are not the customer, you are the product. But that's a little reductionist. Of course, we provide our time and personal information to these platforms, but this is arguably the least important data they collect. The ability to make predictions about you is the true product that is sold to advertisers. So whoever has the most accurate prediction model wins. This is known as the market of future behavior. Behavioral surplus is inconsequential as how fast you type, the number of exclamation marks you use, typos, how long you spend on this post versus that post, all feeds into trainer models that are designed to see how people with certain characteristics typically behave over time. That allows them to predict our behavior and auction that prediction to a business so they can send us the right ad at the right time to influence our purchasing habits. Tech companies used to spend billions on iterating on and perfecting a product in order to compete. But now the true product is a company's ability to make gradual, slight, and imperceptible changes to our behavior directly through the data we give them for free. This is known as surveillance capitalism. Google were the pioneers of this dystopian form of capitalism, mining us for data through our searches and then blasting us with ads depending on the categories we trickle into. Manipulating the Google Maps route so it no longer tries to get you to your destination the fastest, but prioritizes making you travel through areas riddled with their partnered businesses. Even right now, the fact that you're watching this video is no accident. While you've been watching YouTube, Google has been watching you, tracking your watch time, the topics of videos you've been watching, how many times you paused the videos, the comments you left, the comments you write out but ultimately deleted. All of that activity coalesced into a wheel of recommendations, and you wound up here. A digital fate completely engineered by Google. The true crime of Google is that they opened Pandora's box, illuminating a business model that has led to a manipulation-based technology environment that has now birthed something truly terrifying.
One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossil skeletons in the plains of Africa. An upright ape living in dust with crude language and tools, all set for extinction.
Surveillance capitalism is roughly 25 years old, but the current state of AI is its latest incarnation, the perfect offspring of a business model that has no respect for its users. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, XAI, Suno, and a litany of other AI tools takes the disregard for privacy of surveillance capitalism to new heights. Before, your data was used to make selling you useless crap easier. Now, your face, your voice, your art, everything is up for grabs. And this time, they don't even bother asking you for permission. By merely existing in the virtual realm, autonomous entities swarm your digital footprint, seeking to observe, extract, and commodify every facet of your being, with the perverse goal of inevitably replacing you as the new, more controllable underclass of society.
The bots never get frustrated with you. Right. So you tell a normal person, you hire somebody over here, you hire somebody here, and you tell them you want a screen display and you want it to be an animated version of your thing you got back here. Okay, they spend 2 weeks doing it, they bring it to you, they animate it. It's like, okay, that's pretty good, but I actually want the whole thing to be whatever, purple and green, and they spend a week doing that and they come back and you're like, I actually prefer the old version. The guy gets pissed at you because he's like, I just wasted my time. The bot's like, no problem. Or you tell it, this is terrible. I can't believe you came back to me with this. It has all these bugs. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll go fix these. Right. And by the way, never gets drunk. Never gets sick. Never gets high.
Right. Never gets depressed because his girlfriend broke up with him.
Never files HR complaints.
If the digital horsemen enhanced the capabilities of his brothers in arms, AI mutated them all. And with this mutation, we have seen the creation of these weapons of mass surveillance.
You have access to 50 or 100 cameras. All those 50 or 100 cameras are then put into some AI thing so that you can find the exact piece of footage you're looking for at the click of a button. You can't do that using the ATM camera. You can't do that using the HEB camera. You can't do that with the fucking $400 eBay CCTV setup that grocery stores put together because they're all siloed in individual location. And above all, they don't give the police access by default.
A Sedgwick, Kansas police chief used Flock safety license plate readers to track his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend's vehicles 228 times.
A Denver woman says that she was wrongfully accused of theft after police tracked her car using Flock cameras.
Ring provided its Ukraine-based research and development team virtually unfettered access to a folder that contained every video created by every Ring camera around the world.
If you are not covering both cameras at the front of your phones after Apple announced that they are acquiring the Israeli AI startup which literally reads your facial movements, y'all need to get on it.
ICE agents have a new high-tech way to zero in on neighborhoods to raid. The report says it's an app called Elite, and it's developed by
Palantir CEO Alex Carr.
Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, really makes it so that, that's the new Jeffrey Epstein at the end of the day. If they want to blackmail you or know something about you, they just access what Palantir sucked up about you. And your search history, your communications, your finances, tweets you've liked in the past, all sorts of things.
Palantir's technology would be a very powerful tool in the hands of an authoritarian regime. And, well, here we are.
The Panoptic principle reaches its final form with Palantir, which is really an amalgamation of everything we've spoken about in this video. The combined power of the 4 Horsemen, surveillance capitalism, and AI. Defining exactly what they do is purposely difficult, but essentially Palantir are the pioneers of weaponized data. Imagine if Google had a baby with Lockheed Martin. Their main objective is to take trillions of data insights gathered by the infrastructure set up by the 4 Horsemen and feed it through their AI software, streamlining the administration of state violence at all levels. The watchful eye of cathedrals and skyscrapers turn into autonomous killing machines, driven by data centers that are destroying the planet while skyrocketing your utility bills. All seemingly designed to put women and children in the crosshairs of these machines, sometimes piloted by young men who are following the same incentive structures they have been socialized to since they were just boys. All using cold, unfeeling algorithms to optimize its killing output. And if you think I'm being hyperbolic, just follow the money.
Its co-founders, Alex Karp and billionaire Peter Thiel, poured millions into Trump's campaign. In return, doors in Washington opened. Palantir became a problem solver for the US defense establishments, quietly embedding itself into the operations of the FBI, NSA, CIA, and the Pentagon.
And the hiring.
Worrying trend, a revolving door between the Ministry of Defense and Palantir. For instance, this appears to be Ben Maskell, currently Palantir's corporate affairs lead, formerly a special advisor to then Defense Minister Michael Fallon and head of strategic comms to number 10 under Theresa May. Walking next to him appears to be senior counselor at Palantir Damien Parmenter, who was until recently one of the top civil servants in the Ministry of Defense, Polly Scully, who Palantir poached from the MOD. And in the past year alone, the American tech giant also hired Leo Doherty, a former Tory Armed Forces minister, as well as Barnaby Kistruck and Lawrence Lee, both very senior civil servants at the MOD.
Advertisers getting us to buy useless shit was just the first step. By embedding themselves firmly within Western governments and corporations, Palantir has taken surveillance capitalism to its ideological conclusion. Surveillance colonialism, the AI wars.
From writing emails to raiding enemy capital cities, the Wall Street Journal reports that the Pentagon used Anthropic's AI model Claude as part of its operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
An investigation revealed that Israeli forces have systematically bombed the homes of individuals identified by AI algorithms. At one stage, 37,000 targets were selected through an AI-powered database.
Sources told me that the military knew, because they took a random sampling and checked one by one, the military knew that approximately 10% of the people that the machine was marking to be killed were not Hamas militants.
Questions have been raised whether artificial intelligence misidentified the school in Iran that was struck on the first day of the US strikes.
More than 160 children were killed here on Saturday.
Sources tell CBS News the U.S. military used Claude for its attack on Iran over the weekend. Now, hours after the Trump administration ditched Anthropic over the dispute, OpenAI swooped in and struck its own deal with the Pentagon.
Department of War AI will not be woke. Today, we're excited to announce the next frontier AI model company to join GenAI.mil, and that is Grok from XAI.
A second AI system known as Where's Daddy tracked Palestinian men on the kill list. It was purposely designed to help Israel target individuals when they were at home at night with their families. One intelligence officer told the publications, quote, "We were not interested in killing operatives only when they were in a military building or engaged in military activity. On the contrary, the IDF bombed them in homes without hesitation as a first option. It's much easier to bomb a family's home. The system is built to look for them in these situations."
So what now? First, go outside. Okay, perfect. Yes, of course, I'm in a beautiful landscape, but touching grass is not the only reason why I'm outside. I've actually really been struggling to figure out how to finish this video. A lot of people argue that if you're not doing anything wrong, then surveillance shouldn't bother you. But not only is that demonstrably untrue, but they're ultimately missing the bigger picture. Living under mass surveillance ultimately infringes on our right to live without judgment, something that is integral to learning and growth. I recently started training Muay Thai, and a huge part of that is light sparring. Now, although there is observation, a good coach will create an environment where there is no judgment. And the light nature of the sparring means that there isn't a huge punishment if I end up dropping my guard. This puts you in a state of play where you are able to try new things, have fun, and work on and develop your own unique fighting style. This is how all animals learn, and is ultimately what the four horsemen take from us. Constant overt and covert observation leads to a subconscious lack of self-exploration and self-expression. It's the difference between trying to do a backflip at a party and failing miserably, the momentary embarrassment dwarfed by years and years of laughter that you could share with you and your friends, to not attempting the backflip in the first place because you saw a bunch of people recording. It's the difference between wanting to give that guy who approached you a fair shake versus never trusting anyone because they might turn your interaction into content. And it's the difference between organizing any kind of direct revolutionary action against any of the shit that we've talked about in this video, lest you get blown up by a Palantir carrier pigeon because they predicted you might have a critical thought of Israel in the next 3 years. It creates a world where you are only interested in what's right in front of you, what's fed to you, and what you are told, and you're engineered to shy away from what could be. This creates a population of people frozen by observation, unwilling to challenge the status quo. Now, despite the power of the four horsemen of the Panopticon, like most things, it all started with good intentions. Jeremy Bentham initially proposed the concept as a means of prison reform, mentioning that the constant surveillance of the prisoners should be coupled with the occasional observation of the prison guard to solve the issue of who guards the guards, or more accurately, who watches the watchmen. Fear of this public oversight is what actually caused the king and the aristocrats to reject his original concept. But now it's clear that the new kings have simply weaponized the panoptic principle while taking away our ability to scrutinize and hold them accountable. The four horsemen are so ingrained in our everyday lives, it's actually really difficult to come up with a solution. I could tell you to delete all your social media platforms, throw your Apple Watch in the toilet, always use a VPN, and keep your digital footprint as small as possible. But unfortunately, that's just as useful as me telling you to keep your carbon footprint as small as possible in a world where 80% of all greenhouse emissions are created by 57 companies. Unfortunately, the power is out of the hands of the individual and now lies in the hands of the collective. So here's what I've got. Understand that anytime you see an ad or a piece of content, it was not put in front of you by accident. And you should always maintain an air of skepticism about what the algorithm decides to show you. Those at the head of surveillance capitalism and surveillance colonialism have a fiduciary responsibility to keep you as ignorant and as online as possible. So not only should you try and have more conversations in real life, but you should also know your opposition's reasoning as well as you know your own. You may find that you agree on what actually matters. And when you find this point of agreement, stay there and focus on it. Realize that the so-called content creators that advocate for the establishment and increased state power and the increased integration of AI companies are completely compromised, and they should be treated like what they are. Fucking narcs and useful idiots that perpetuate the same self-policing of the powerless that the Panopticon relies on. With our clicks, our purchases, and our votes, we ultimately decide the future. This is why they're afraid of us. This is why they openly seek to divide us with culture war bullshit. And I guess I'll end it with the fact that it ultimately doesn't matter if the prison guards are watching us. It's the prisoners that cook the food, clean the halls, make the uniforms, lay the bricks, and assemble the cameras. Everything necessary for the central observation tower to be built and maintained. And at any moment, with the right organization, and once we ignore all of the distractions they purposely put in front of us, the four horsemen are no match against us all. So like, comment, subscribe, share the video, or don't. Just whatever you do, stay unpredictable. It's Io, not AO. Signing out. Bye. Bye. Huge shout out to Carmen, who helped bring the four horsemen of the Panopticon to life. A huge reason why this video took so long is that we've been developing these characters, but I think they turned out amazing. So give her a follow on Instagram and help her defeat the systemic horsemen. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.